Alright, YouTube, David Harry here, and in this video I'm going to be doing a quick and simple unboxing of an 11-inch iPad Pro M2. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to do a quick comparison size-wise and physically comparing the M2 to the new iPad 10th Gen. And the reason for that is because I've got a feeling that both of these iPads are going to be very similar physically, which means that a number of the peripherals that I will be using for the iPad Pro may well actually work with the 10th Gen iPad as well. So if you are into things such as iPads, definitely sub to the channel and get all over that bell notification icon, because I will be doing a ton of videos to do with these iPads, things like how to plug them into like external TVs and monitors and stuff like that. Also, how to connect storage devices to them, things like mice and keyboards as well, and a whole bunch of other things, including a ton of gaming videos. Anyways, let me get into the unboxing of this then. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick run around the box. Now, there's not an exciting here because this box is basically the same box that we've had for the last two iPads, except this one has got this design on the front, just so that we know that this is the M2 version. But nonetheless, I'll just whiz around the box. As we can see here, it is just exactly the same as, like, you know, every other iPad Pro box that we've had for, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, something like that. So yeah, basically just saying iPad Pro with Apple logos all over the place. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just flip down here onto the back, and then what I will do is just tear off these tabs here. So there's the first tab and there's the second tab. Now let me just flip this back over again and get the top of the box off. See if this comes off easy. Hold on, there we go. Okay, right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull the iPad just to one side first of all. So let me just get that out the way. And then as we can see here, we've just got this little package inside. Now that's just going to have some kind of warranty information and hopefully some stickers. There we go. And then underneath there, what we have got, which is actually new now, is a fully braided USB-C to USB-C cable. So hopefully that will last a bit longer than like the older cables did. And then also we have got our 3-pin power supply here. Now this is 3-pin because I'm in the UK, although these power supplies will have the right pin configuration for whatever part of the world that you live in. And so to the iPad itself. So let me just get this wrapping off here. Okay, well, I suppose that's quite nice. At the bottom there, it says iPad Pro. I can't remember actually if last year's iPad or the one before that actually said Pro on it. I'm not too sure. But nonetheless, this one says iPad Pro on it. Now, this is basically going to look exactly the same as an iPad Pro M1 11-inch physically. But nonetheless, what I'm going to do now is just go off camera. I'll power it up, log in, and then we'll take a closer look around the edges. Okay, so I've got this all powered up and logged in now. And one thing that I would like to say straight away, although this is not a review, and that's the fact that the screens on the 11-inch iPad Pros look absolutely fantastic. I mean, you're not going to be able to see this right now, but just the fluidity in the screen because of the high refresh rate going up to 120 Hz just looks outstanding. So anyone who's interested in an iPad Pro 11, just rest assured that the screens look absolutely tremendous. And as we can see here, I've already downloaded 2 games here, so I'm going to get straight onto those after I've done the unboxing. Anyways, I'm just going to show you around the edges of this iPad, and to make it a little bit more interesting, I will compare it to the iPad Pro M1. So to this quick physical comparison between the M1 and M2 iPad Pros, with the M1 being on the left, M2 being on the right, the one thing that you definitely won't be able to see here is the fact that they are both identical across this top edge here where the screen is. So behind the top edge here, they both have identical layouts for all the sensors, obviously the front camera and the front facing microphone. Now moving around to the rear of the iPad Pros, and as we can see, they are basically identical. Now the iPad Pro M2 says iPad Pro on the rear, whereas the iPad Pro M1 M1 just says iPad. Also, there is a slight difference in the colour as well, with the M1 iPad Pro being a darker grey, but to be honest, I actually prefer that darker grey colour. Now, you might be looking at the cameras there and you might think, well, they look different. Well, they don't actually. What it is, I've actually got lens protectors on the M1 iPad Pro up here, but they are basically identical aside from the fact that I've got lens protectors over the M1 version. And then we've got the bands at the top here as well, which are for the internal antenna systems, which are identical. And then finally at the bottom here, we've got these data connectors, which are also identical. Now, moving on to the top edge, and on first glance, everything does look exactly the same. However, if you look carefully, there are slight differences. The two power buttons are in the exact same place, and the microphone placements in the center are in the same place. However, those speaker grills are slightly different. Now, I don't know why those speaker grills are in slightly different positions. However, the conspiracy theorist inside me is sitting there thinking to himself, hold on a minute, is this Apple's attempt at trying to force people into buying a new type of case so that it lines up properly with the speaker grills? And quickly looking at the bottom edge, and as we can see there, the Thunderbolt USB-C ports are in the exact same position, but once again, we have got a slight difference in the positioning of those speaker grills. Once again, on the iPad Pro M2, the speaker grills are slightly closer into the center of the actual iPad frame. And then moving on to one of the long sides, and as we can see, these are identical, with those microphone positions being in the exact same place. And same again for the other long side, with the up and down volume buttons being in the exact same positions, and also the wireless charging points for the pencils being in the same position as well. Okay, so I'm now going to do a quick physical comparison with the 10th gen iPad, which is on the left here. Now, immediately, I don't expect there to be that many similarities, and most certainly not any as far as the button placements are concerned and stuff like that. However, what I'm really interested in here is to see as to whether or not these iPads are maybe of such a similar size overall that maybe you could actually share certain peripherals between them, maybe certain types of cases, but most certainly docking systems. Now, the first thing that I will say straight away here is that in spite of the fact that the iPad M2 here, or the iPad Pro M2, has got slightly thinner bezels compared to the bezels on the 10th gen iPad, I don't think that there's much in there. So if anybody's looking at a 10th gen iPad, as you can see here, the actual proper screen size in there, or the screen area, is actually really good. Now, there is one massive difference, however, and it actually goes into the favor of the Gen 10 iPad, and that's the fact that it's now got its camera placed on one of the long edges here, close to the center. Now, what that basically means is that when you're doing things like FaceTime or any kind of video recording, you can have your iPad in proper landscape mode and be able to look straight down into the center line of the iPad, so that you're not looking off to one side or anything mad like that. Now, why Apple didn't do the exact same thing as far as the camera position is concerned for the new iPad Pros is anyone's guess. Now, moving over onto the rear of these iPads, and it is immediately clear that these are completely different. They do not share any of the same physical construction characteristics. However, they do look very similar as far as their size is concerned. Now, moving over to one of the long edges, and as we can see, these are clearly different again, as in the buttons for the up and down volume controls are slightly in different positions, and obviously one of them, as in the iPad Pro M2, has got that charging port there for the wireless connection for the pencil. However, they do look very similar as far as the length is concerned. And then moving over to the other long edge of the iPads, once again, they are completely different, as in the Gen 10 here has got its connections, or its electronic connection for certain peripherals, and then obviously on the iPad Pro M2, that's got a microphone in that position there, but once again, they actually do look like a very similar length. Now, looking at the bottom edge, and as we can see there, both of their USB-C ports are basically in the same position, but that's to be expected because you would expect them to be central. Now, obviously, the speaker grills are completely in different places and different sizes, but once again, as far as the width is concerned, they do actually look very similar in width. And then pretty much the same thing for the top edge of both of these iPads, as in the speaker grills are in completely different places. Also on the M2 iPad Pro, we've got those two microphones slap into the center, and also their power buttons are in different positions. However, and once again, the actual width does look very similar. Now, just for the last physical comparison, and this is by no means scientific, but I'm just going to have a quick look here to see what the thicknesses are like. They do look very similar. However, maybe the 10th gen iPad is slightly thicker. Now, I know there are spec sheets which are going to be a lot more precise than what I've been doing here. However, I just thought quickly eyeballing these things might give me an idea as to maybe are certain things shareable between them. Okay, so that should just about do it then for this simple but maybe not so quick unboxing for the 2022 11-inch iPad Pro M2. Although with that said, hopefully all that comparative stuff with the sizes and things may have been useful to some people out there, and especially the stuff to do with the 10th gen iPad, because I'm actually quite shocked at how similar they are as far as the screen sizes are concerned and stuff like that. Anyways, like I said from the outset, I'm going to be doing a ton of videos with this M2 iPad and also the 10th gen one. Loads of peripheral stuff, how to connect things to other things and stuff like that, and most certainly a ton of gaming stuff as well. So if you're into that kind of thing, defo keep an eye on the channel, preferably sub to the channel and click all over that bell notification icon to be notified of when those videos come up. Anywho, there will also be links in all these videos taking you to Amazon, to where you can buy a lot of the stuff that I'll be using, probably mostly to do with peripherals and stuff like that. So defo keep an eye on all that stuff as well. And if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.